What is up? We made it. We made it. We made it. Everybody's like ready to roll. Born ready. Seventh like nice. Love it. We are in. Finally, favorite kind of paper. Nice. Yep. Oh, I haven't looked at Boeing today. I have not. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. It's a good looking Monday so far. So far. It is. Louder. Am I okay? Can you guys hear me? Is the audio check? Audio check. Actually, I don't know. It's a little cold over here. I turn this heater down. What's up, everybody? Everybody's still coming in. My phone is blowing up. I keep getting these crazy amount of spam messages. This is just really irritating. But welcome back. Yes, welcome back. It is time. It's time. The camera is so clear. Is it? Is it? I don't know. Is that KJ? KJ in the house? Dude, you guys are still coming in. Hot. Coming in hot. I love it. If you guys can give us, shoot me a retweet. Look at this. Midwest in the house. Like and subscribe if you're not. Appreciate you guys. What's up, everybody? Dude, I love it when everybody keeps coming in. Crispy. Is the camera different? I didn't think there was different. I'm practically glowing. Oh, maybe it's the light. I don't know. It's pretty shiny. It's very shiny. I mean, it's a good bounce this morning. I'm happy about that. It's been a rough few weeks, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's been a rough few weeks. The market's been choppy. It's been sloppy. Posting. I actually, it's the same camera. It's the same one. I don't know what happened, but we do have a friend probably joining us in a little bit. But anyways, I appreciate everybody hopping in. And I'm going to get to this here in just a minute. The only thing I'm really kind of looking at that I'm not like overly positioned in. I mean, did anybody buy Meta last week? I mean, I started nibbling and I thought it was going to get below 600, but we didn't quite get below 600. It was just barely, but we'll see if it can get any higher. It's going to look a little bit better. What's up with SMCI? I think it bottomed. I think the bottom hit. We can look at it though. I think it's going to be fine. I just don't know what your time horizon is. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's dumb. I think a lot of things are dumb. The market is literally pricing SMCI like there was no bookings. But dude, I mean, I come from enterprise sales, and I mean, to me, a booking is like essentially the same as it's an order. But when earnings hit, the market looks at there's a difference between recognized revenue and booked revenue, especially when it comes to reporting. And recognized revenue means what was delivered. So I can have a customer send me a purchase order in business. I can have a customer send me a purchase order in business, but I don't get to recognize, which means I booked the order, but I don't get to recognize the revenue on my financial statements until the equipment is delivered and installed. And basically you sign off. And so that's the difference. And sometimes it takes a while for that gear to get shipped and delivered. And that's literally the difference. Are we buying Leafs for 50-year mortgages? Dude, I saw that this morning. Cliff, I don't even know what to say. Zuck's glasses keynote. Yeah, for sure. So Meta's got their own issues. True story. And CapEx for Meta. It's in terms of Meta, it's just CapEx growing faster than profits or revenue, essentially. And historically, well, Meta for sure. When Zuck said that, I'm not going to be able to spend enough. It got everybody on the side of like, well, is this that same kind of fall from, I don't even remember what it was, like 400 something to like $80. I don't think it's the same thing, but yeah, even if we don't continue today, though, the fact of the matter is that the shutdown we're still shut down though, right? We're still shut down. I'm buying JSMV. What is even? I don't even know what this is. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we're still shut down. Let me see the. I need to open up a YouTube on my phone. I need an iPad like my boy, Amit. Oh, I hear somebody. Uh-oh. He's in the house. Is that Evan? Evan.
Yo, yo.
Yo. Good morning.
Honestly, so do you know what happened? Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
It's 12:40 for me. Warren Buffett dropped that like a little letter to shareholders for Thanksgiving. So I'm just going through it right now and
For
posting
Thanksgiving?
it. I don't know. Don't ask questions. I'm just the arbiter.
Okay.
I'm just
No
posting.
questions.
But then I
say?
was like, oh damn, I'm late.
What did he say?
Sometime right now I haven't even had a chance to internalize it. But basically it's his last one. He's just going through his life.
Oh, I mean, that's
the
interesting.
PDF isn't like, it's just making it. Life's difficult. I got distracted. How is the stream going so far? Shout out to everyone. I am excited for this.
Yeah.
Miss Cleo. It was Miss Cleo right last week?
Dude, Miss Cleo, I don't know if she's been right or not. I know that I've been fading Miss Cleo a little bit. And I've been getting slapped a little bit as well. So what did she say last week? I have to find it. Miss Cleo said that it was going to be a mix, trend and chop. But the chance for, she said it was just going to be chop. Theme card was the Three of Swords, that heart with the three swords going through it, tend to cut and cause wounds. Well, okay, so she was right there, which is completely different than fire and impulsivity of wands. The three does tend to reverse when following a royal and also has negative bias. So that's not a great sign for bulls. So she was bearish last week. All right. I guess you're going to have to give it to her.
What a turnaround.
So Friday was super interesting. And I think that kind of, in the middle of Friday, had we not gotten the headlines of the government possibly opening back up, and we're still closed, right?
Yeah. And honestly, it's like a whole procedural process as well, like, which I don't fully know, but I don't know. I put a little bet on one of the prediction markets. I don't know if it's a better prediction or whatever you want to call it, that it would be back open by Saturday. So I don't know exactly what the time frame is. I don't want to get screwed by something. Yeah. I don't think it's just like, hey, agreed, it's open.
Yeah, I don't think it's like that either. That would be great. But there were a couple of things that did come out. ACA subsidies doesn't seem like that's going through. Not specifically ACA subsidies. So Oscar, UNH, those stocks specifically. Well, specifically Oscar, I didn't see. I guess I could pull it up, but it didn't look ultra bullish this morning. But what was true, everything's looking pretty good. And maybe it's about the dip. No, still back to the kind of lows. But what was true is that middle of the day, Friday, is that when the headline came out of like, okay, well, we might have something here that could potentially maybe reopen up the government, literally that instant, the market reverse course. Because without that headline, and this is how much sentiment matters, and why I think it was Dan Niles was it Niles, was saying it's hard to be short in this market because literally that instant, it was like market reverse course. And all of a sudden we're back to the highs. We were going lower. That's just what it was. It was looking ugly all day long. And you guys keep mentioning this camera. I didn't touch anything to the camera. I did not touch the camera. This is crazy. We were going lower. And then the second that there was an inkling of, okay, the Fed, the government might reopen, well, everything changed. Everything changed in the market. And that's how much just a little bit of sentiment can change everything. And even though we're not officially open right now, it's like we're getting that much closer to the government reopening. In terms of tariffs, it's going to be the same thing. Like there's discussions out there about tariff rebates and things like that. There are some stocks getting absolutely decimated. I can think of Nike specifically, just getting absolutely destroyed right now. But if you get a headline about, okay, a tariff rebate, it's over, right? That thing's right back to 70 plus and then some, probably in an instant. Like you probably won't have a lot of reaction time.
He's reiterated it a couple times. I don't know if we're actually going to get it. I saw
I have no idea.
is kind of walking it back a little bit. We're in an interesting time. We'll see.
Yeah, but I have no idea. But my point is that the technicals right now and coming into Friday looked ugly. They look ugly, but sentiment can shift on a dime and the fundamental story can start to shift very quickly. And if you're not, and it does make it hard to be short in this market. And if you are, I don't know that you want to be putting in large bets in that instance. And it's also hard to be long. So the net result is basically chop sideways. So like you're kind of just waiting for the deep discounts. And all that said, this last discount on Friday, I mean, at the lowest, it was what, like 5% at the index level. It's a good it's an okay discount. Anytime you get the VIX over 25, which I don't think it was like 22, 23, that's usually a pretty decent discount. It was an okay discount. It wasn't like oh my God, I have to buy discount. There are a couple things that were, but overall, I think the market's still kind of like, well, we can still chop a little bit, which puts me in a place where, well, I think I don't know that we get a V recovery as nice as that would be. I definitely cannot trade for a V recovery right now, but if we get it, it's going to be 100% based on sentiment and headlines if we were to get it. There's no way it doesn't strike this down. I don't know, right? I have my voice back. I don't know. For now, I haven't talked this morning. That's the only reason. Give me a few minutes. But all right. So let's go ahead and start the show. If you are new here, boys and girls, welcome, by the way. Make sure you give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. What we do here every Monday is we kind of go through what the headlines were last week, over the weekend, and up to this point in the day, and see what's going to affect our money moving forward for the rest of the week, and any kind of investments and or trades that we might have on the table. So if you guys are interested in certain things, go ahead and drop some tickers in the chat. This is the point where, like, okay, you drop the tickers, and if we have time towards the end, I'll go ahead and scan through, and we might take a look at some charts as we get through. Evan is joining us. Evan, Stock Market News. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you absolutely should, and we will take a look at some of his stuff that he puts out. But this is the news guru of FinTwit, if you will. But this is interesting. We get a K recovery. A K recovery. I heard this term today. Are you familiar with this, Evan?
Yeah. So the top part doing well, bottom part struggling. Yeah.
I think that's the market, anyways. So, like, we have a Discord that has a free section, and then we have a paid section in the Discord. And one of our members asked, like, they were pretty young, and they asked if they should diversify into these certain companies. And I looked at it, and that K recovery reminds me of this, because when you look back in history, I think like 90% of the gains overall for like, I don't know how long it's been. You might know, Evan, off the top of your head, have been very concentrated in, the top 10, less than 10% of companies in general. Diversification is like, that's for wealth preservation. If you're already rich and you want to protect your money, then you go that route. But the rest of people, most of the time, if you're into wealth creation, maybe not the way. And this K recovery, I think, kind of outlines that, because the growth, most of the wealth has been generated from a handful of stocks at the end of the day, over any considerable period of time, or over a considerable period of time. And like right now, of course, we have Palantir, we have Robinhood, but we still have Apple, Amazon, Meta, Nvidia, semis, and high growth tech names. Those are what, anything AI related that's really generating revenue right now is what's fueling this bounce. And hence this headline: Shutdown sparks an AI bounce. It's only AI that's really bouncing. There are other things that kind of bounce, like gold bounced a little bit, but I don't think it's carrying. But staples overall were lower. Actually, gold's holding. Gold was actually a pretty big bounce early, which may be sustained. So we have these two different things. So we have gold coming back a little bit, and we have AI coming back. These two are actually going in sync right now, which is odd, not normal, but they had been doing that for a while. And then we have the safety stocks really doing nothing. Even, and as I get through this presentation, we've getting some headlines, even as Pfizer, way down here, nabs Metsera for $10 billion. They're finally, after I don't know how long Pfizer's been talking about getting into this GLP-1 space. Oh my God. Like 3 years, maybe 3 years that this has been on the pipeline, more or less, that they finally get there. And this stock is like, if AMD used to be like the advanced money destroyer, it's like Pfizer. Anytime that I had thought about buying the dip on Pfizer, that has been the advanced money destroyer, man. I'll tell you what. But, it's still, to this day, not catching a bid. Maybe the market thinks 10 billion is a lot. Did you see that guy's interview this morning? The CEO of Pfizer?
No, I did not.
He dropped the F-bomb on CNBC. I thought it was hilarious.
No, he did not. Wow,
it
really?
it was absolutely hilarious. But he thinks 2027 is his year. I think it's worth another shot if I see it really close to 20, or maybe even below 20. Maybe I'll give it a shot, but or higher. But right now, it's a tough one. But they won. They got a court decision. Novo did not get the deal. They get to buy Metsera for $10 billion after this, I think it was Seagen that they bought for like $40 billion. And that was his comment. He was like, people are saying that the Seagen acquisition was, they overpaid. And he's like, well, if it doesn't work, we overpaid. But if it works, it's a great effing deal. And I'm like, oh my God. All right. But overall, this is what we're looking at right now. The data that's coming in, right? Weak U.S. data in terms of Michigan sentiment. So that's 75% odds of a December Fed cut. Actually, I can look at that, which was weird, because the second that Jay Powell said, hey, look, we might not, what he said was that the December rate cut was not guaranteed. And the moment that those words came out of his mouth, oh man, the market was not happy. I'm just going to pull this up really quick and see what it says. So, all right, so I have a 60%. So 60.9%, which was funny because, now we're back. We were here. We were at 91% before. And then it had come down after he said it, and for a time here, it had actually popped up intraday, or for a day or two, that the market just didn't believe that we were going to have a Fed cut in in December. And now it looks like we're kind of reverting to the mean, which is probably what we saw reflected in the markets.
Comments today?
What's that?
Did you see Moran's comments from today?
Whose?
Moran. I don't know. He's like the one that Trump appointed that his dot plot was much lower. So he is the most dovish Fed member. He said today that he thinks they should cut by 50 points and that he thinks 25 is a lock at the December meeting.
50.
So that was one of the headlines today. Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I'm team 50, but I'm fighting for 25." Like he sounded like he's gonna die on that hill.
Nice.
Direct comment. Wait, nope. This is Mausoleum, who said limited room to ease policy further. Monetary policy is closer to neutral than modestly restrictive. That was a separate Fed comment. Where's this Moran one? 50%, 0.5% cut appropriate for December, 0.25% at a minimum is the direct quote.
There you go. I mean, and then we have January and March after December, which we don't have any rate cuts priced in for January or March right now. We don't have another rate cut after December until April of 2026. So, I mean, that's the pace of the cuts that's priced in right now. So if this accelerates, if we get the data and what Jay Powell said, what he said, he said, it's not guaranteed for December, so hold your horses. And he kind of tried to walk it back in terms of like, well, we're going to be, what I got was that he said it was going to be data dependent, which by the way, we really don't have any data. We're going to get ADP. We get ADP data, which I think we get. Do we get ADP tomorrow? I believe so. Or did we already get it?
Let's pull up the.
No, we get it tomorrow.
We would not have gotten it today. We don't get much data on Mondays generally.
No, yeah. So we're gonna get ADP tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to drop off in a couple minutes. I just want to say one or two things before. Subscribe to the channel. 13F season. I am so excited for the Friday deadline, and the fact that it's Friday afternoon means less people are going to be watching it. I don't know if that means more underseen opportunities or maybe just go out and enjoy your weekends. You could check back, but I will say 13Fs
on Friday.
Yeah, 13F deadline is Friday. You might see some trickle on throughout the week, but like Warren Buffett's will be updated at 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Friday.
There you go. So
Ackland's a little after that.
So we're closing out some earnings, a lot of the earnings season. Then we're going to hit 13F season. November 19th, we have NVIDIA reporting. Maybe NVIDIA can save the market, but after that, we should have a little bit clearer direction on the market. I do not have anything. So ADP is Tuesday. I don't have NFP slated yet, obviously, because the government's still shut down. And I don't think it would be right now. So we're going to get ADP on Tuesday. That's tomorrow, which in the absence of the data, the market has been using ADP as the NFP equivalent. So that might be the biggest move. Change. That's ADP employment change weekly. They're giving us a weekly change. Oh my God. It's not a month. Yeah. So this is
ADP.
Is this new? We're getting a weekly update on ADP. It's not the monthly number. Yeah.
What's ADP stock been doing? It's been down during this.
Yeah. All right. A weekly change is new. I don't know how that's super frequent. I don't know. I don't know what the market's going to do with that. It's actually not as big of a deal if it's just weekly. Anyways, TSM reports this morning. Do you have any quick highlights before you jump off on that one?
I don't think they didn't report earnings though, right? It was just October revenue. It was October revenue of 11.86 billion, which was up 16.9% year over year, but it was just up 11% month over month. I think last month might have been a little bit crazier, but I don't think the numbers were too bad. Maybe I missed. I think they reported earnings a little bit ago.
Oh, you're right.
But there was some data. It was October revenue.
October revenue.
There was also a story from NVIDIA over the weekend that allegedly they were like, hey, can you guys increase production to Taiwan Semiconductor? But
yeah,
I don't know. And there was also a recent story, I think last week, maybe on Friday, that TSMC was going to suppliers and telling them, hey, we're going to raise prices soon. That was more in the rumor stage. But yeah, that was some of the recent TSMC news.
Yeah, so I got the NVIDIA one about NVIDIA telling TSMC to ramp their production. The other stuff, if you guys didn't catch it, Tesla pay package approved for Elon. I looked at that. I think it's like 12 structured little tranches that get released at roughly 500 billion market cap increments. So that's going to be interesting. Should be good. At least it's an incentive here, the things that we need to hit. If you want to look more into that, each little piece has like a it's like a benchmark that if he hits, then these things will release. And then China, right? China eases on chip export curbs. I don't know. China's been choppy. I saw a couple of requests about JD. Look, JD's we're here now at the lows. I think this is it. And they have earnings coming on Thursday the 13th. And then Singles Day is like now. China. So Singles Day. And I had someone. So how big is Singles Day? Versus Prime Day.
Allegedly, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And allegedly, Perplexity AI is saying Singles Day in China is celebrated annually on November 11th, 11/11, 1111, because there's a lot of ones.
Yeah. So I'm asking Grok. So versus Prime Day. So Prime Day was I forgot if anybody has it in the chat. Well, Grok works. Grok fast is going very slow right now. It's just digging. But I think it's like 4 or 5x the size of Prime Day. At least last year, I'm pretty sure it was. All right. Singles Day, 11/11, JD, and I got a Prime Day breakdown. This is why. It is, Singles Day is 1 month long. 48 hours Prime Day. So total 50 to 80 billion based on 2021. That's not right. Part of China's 202 billion total Singles Day e-commerce. Okay. It's 3.5x Prime Day's revenue. There you go. Conservatively. So size is, even conservatively, JD.com's event alone likely generates 3.5x Prime Day's revenue, driven by China's 1 billion plus internet users. Historically, Singles Day historically accounts for 85 to 140 billion. Is that right? That's intense. So this is it. We're going to find out. JD.com about face softer consumer. It's a 37-day event. Could push figures even higher. Well, Prime Day is projected to exceed 15 billion. So does it start today? I mean, because if it ends today, that's a whole different thing. China's single day discount tend to be lower than, yeah. Okay, so you guys know Singles Day discounts tend to be lower. Does it start tomorrow, Walter, or does it end? Peak. Tomorrow is the day it starts. Have on Alibaba concludes on November 11th. Set to conclude on November 11th. All right. Started on 9th and have been running through November. Well, the stock has not been acting like that. So we're going to get some results on at the end of the week. Let me check my X company. Too funny. All right, well, that's where we are. But anyways, let me go ahead and move forward. Evan had to bounce. I'm just actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and pop into his Twitter. And if you don't know Evan, this is Evan. Oops. There he is. But I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough on his Catalyst watch right now. So here's his full Catalyst watch. So event of the week, Friday 13F deadline, which he talked about. This, by the way, this is where all the people, what's up? This is where all the people hop in, and we're not hopping. They're going to tell you what they did in the past. So one thing about 13F season, if you guys aren't familiar, these are what institutional funds and hedge funds have already done. They're going to tell you what has happened. It's not, I don't think it's ever been a winning trade to instantly buy something that shows up on these 13F singles or 13F things. So closing off on singles day. Yeah, culminates. Yeah. So this is my one caution on 13F season. When you start to see these releases, so our boy Amit, Evan's going to get it out first with everybody. They're going to come out in massive threads across FinTwit. Just have your own opinion. This stuff will change market sentiment in terms of, so like, for example, when Buffett bought UNH, that's, I'm not kidding. And if you're new to this, then you know, and then you don't know. This is for the new people. I'm not kidding. When Buffett bought UNH, first of all, you don't know when he bought it. Let's say when Buffett bought Oxy. Perfect example of what I'm talking about. If you bought Oxy when Buffett bought Oxy, how'd you do? If you bought Lulu when Buffett bought Lulu, how'd you do? You give me one example of literally thousands that is not a good one. Like the overall trend is not going to be good for you if you follow these. But my point is, what will happen is it will change the sentiment of potential sectors. So as an example, Buffett buying UNH changed the sentiment in a healthcare sector as a whole. Before that happened, healthcare as a whole has been beaten down for probably, 5 years, completely flatlined and slightly lower across the board. A lot of these still are. But it at least sparks some interest in certain sectors. But you don't know their timelines. Perfect example of Oxy, right? Buffett just loads up on Oxy. You have no idea what the timeline is or what his logic is for investing in that. And you can't think of it like that. Like, make your own decision, make it your own. If you can understand like what the logic is, if you can make it your own investment and not base an investment on somebody else's portfolio, you don't want to do that. You have to make it your own. If you have your own thesis for something, it's all good, right? But you can't blindly follow these things. It's a big trap if you do, because number one, when Buffett bought Lulu, the very next 13F he filed, guess what? Pretty sure he sold it. And also what matters in these is the percentage of weighting. So how much of their total holdings are they actually putting into these things? So even with UNH, it's actually pretty small. It's a pretty small amount. With Lulu, it was an extremely speculative amount, but Lulu, the stock, exploded the second that 13F was released. So all that to say is these are very interesting. They're going to move stocks considerably the moment that they get released. But for the most part, those movements don't usually hold. They usually come back. And it's okay to buy them, but just make it your own decision with your own logic and don't copy somebody else's. Sorry, that's a long-winded thing, but it's a very serious thing. I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money this way. But it's a headline driver for sure. So anyways, what do we have on the earnings watch? So Tyson, CoreWeave. Ooh, is that CoreWeave tonight? So we got Oxy tonight, CoreWeave tonight, Instacart. Nah, I don't know. I have not been using any Instacart. Where's CoreWeave this morning? And I'll have to look at the earnings calendar in a little bit. I'm looking for events all day. So McKesson, I don't even know what this is. Via Target, I don't know what that is. Tronics and Mosaic, the Morgan Stanley Global Chemicals. Chevron Investor Day. OPEC Plus, by the way, I think we're going to get an oil status report that will be delayed this week. But there is definitely some news. Oil's been down coming into this month. We're coming into the travel season. November, December, January, and those are usually good months for oil or oil stocks, but we will see. I think OPEC Plus just changed their output expectations. What is Dayforce? Dayforce shareholders are scheduled to vote on Thoma Bravo's $70 share buyout. I don't even know what Dayforce is. Interesting. I know Monday.com reported this morning, and I think that's what is just absolutely hammering CRM. Yeah. JD, yeah, Thursday. AMAT, Disney, StubHub. AMAT's a big one. And then Friday, yeah, 13S. So I don't see any major Planet Fitness Investor Day, Bosch and Lomb Investor Day. Yeah. Bostic. A lot of Fed speak for sure. Waste Management, Honeywell, speaking, Investor Days. That's all I really see. So nothing crazy there. And then the actual earnings calendar. Yeah, Monday.com. How did Instacart do? Pretty flat. That stock is oddly sideways for a while. VG reported this morning. I know a lot of you guys are in venture VG. Not bad. Not up, but I mean up for the day. Still battling the lows. That guy needs to get over 10 and at least over the 20-day. But if VG can hold 750s, 780s, that's going to start to be constructive for a base. It's not bad. If it get basically today's low, 775, you want that to be the low. And then CoreWeave, Rocket Lab, CoreWeave, ASTS, after the close, these are big ones. Yikes, Roni. Does anybody have Gemini? GEMI? This is Gemini Space, GEMI. Gemini Space Station. Do they literally have the same? Is that Gemini the exchange? The Winklevoss twins? Because that's their logo. Is it? That's their logo. Why does it say? Yeah, it is. So that's the crypto exchange, Gemini. But the ticker says Gemini Space Station. I don't know why it says that. That's not smart. That's really dumb that they did that. All right. Nobody's going to know who they are. It is them. Yeah. I just looked it up. It's them. But they should not have called them Space Station. Oh, goodness. And then Nebius before the open Tuesday. Rigetti, Big Bear, I don't know what to say. These things, Microvast, Paramount Sky. You got a lot of big stuff still coming, but these are going to be smaller cap names, most of these. Nebius is going to be really interesting about what they say about their forecast moving forward. I don't know this company in terms of their personality. Do they underpromise, overdeliver? We'll see. C Limited. I think this would give you wouldn't C Limited give you a preview of what JD.com is going to do? Or at least a preview of Singles Day? Yeah, I would assume so. Unless I'm misunderstanding what they do. I was never really into them. Yeah, I mean, this is C Limited. Is it global e-commerce? But is it Shopee? I don't know. Product services. We'll see. Malaysia strengths. This is an interesting one. Oklo. I don't know, guys. What is Oklo possibly gonna say? That thing all the way back up to the 50-day. It's the Amazon of the sea. It's a fintech gaming company. All right, fair enough. Yeah. All right, Singapore, Malaysia. There you go. I don't know Oklo. What's weird to me is that Oklo is not down more because, I mean, what are they gonna say? So nobody expects Oklo to have earnings. It probably doesn't move. Quite frankly, it probably doesn't move at all. Tech Tuesday tomorrow? I have no idea. You have to ask your boy. on Circle, interesting. Yeah, this is still, so we're out of the Mag 7. This is still a big week. Did you guys see DraftKings recovery? So Flutter is the other DraftKings equivalent. Let's see what Flutter's doing. Oh yeah, it's already ripping. So Flutter, by the way, so I posted something on DraftKings about not having seen like people leave DraftKings, leave like a sports book platform to go to the event contracts. That's true. It doesn't mean that they're not necessarily losing market share, because I think Hood's genius in the prediction market product release is that the people that are on FanDuel, which is Flutter, and DraftKings are also on Robinhood already. So it's not like you have to close one account and open another. They already have both applications. That's I think was the genius. And so net new customers, we didn't see any change. It was still slow growth on DraftKings, slow steady growth on DraftKings. Interestingly, like when you look into the numbers for like a Flutter or a DraftKings, the companies report a different type of metric. They call it like hold revenue, which is what people in the sports world call the juice, right? Like you pay the juice, like the bookie, what the rake is. That's really like what their profit is. And it's a different calculation, it's a different metric overall, which does not exist in prediction markets. But the fact that DraftKings was like, well, okay, we're going to release DraftKings predictions in a week or two, actually got people re-excited. And also the fact that they did not see any deceleration really in their business was pretty constructive. I didn't realize, but the investor community, my God, if you guys don't know what the investor community is expecting for DraftKings, it is absolutely insane next quarter, which is kind of scary. As I was just looking at that, there's like, here's DraftKings. So it's 91% buy, but I need to get into earnings. This is what I was talking about. So this was 1.14 billion revenue. I think the expected revenue estimate 1.21, even slightly lower, EPS slightly higher. But the expectations for next quarter, 2 billion. That's, I mean, probably going to do it, but that was there already without the event contracts for DraftKings. So this is the typical ramp. Now extrapolate that to hoodie, and it's like, whoa, all right, that's a big deal. But yeah, so that's what they're looking at. I don't know if DraftKings actually hits this, but between now and then, the market clearly thinks that they're going to at least strive for it. So let's see what Flutter is, which I think is actually like the better company. So bigger revenue, 3.27 for Flutter is consensus, and they're beating on revenue. So this is new to the NASDAQ and beating a little bit better on margin as well. This, by the way, is just Earnings Hub. All right, so back to where we were. And this is where that same calendar screenshot comes from. So JD, Disney next week, later in the week. We have Cisco. If you have any OG network fans, Cisco is $71 now. I mean, that's a lot from 45. It's probably justified. It probably does not much, but slowly higher. It's probably right where it needs to be. Pan America Silver, that's a big mover. I'm mostly interested in Flutter actually right now based on this. And then, of course, JD is got the whole of FinTwit looking at these contracts. I don't know. That's a gamble, no doubt. We'll see. We shall see. Sometimes it's a sell the news event. Sometimes it'll come down only to get bought back up later. So maybe you wait till after earnings. I have no idea. But that's what we have on deck for the calendar, or for the earnings calendar. And then this week, yeah. So Tuesday ADP is now we have a weekly change on ADP. We'll see about that. And then nothing really until the government comes back open. Crude oil status report. This is what we usually get on Thursday, has been pushed to, or we usually get on Wednesday, has been pushed to Thursday. And then it's a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Fed speeches literally every day this week. So with that, probably a lot of chop. And again, I think this market is going to be very much sentiment driven, as we headline driven, if you will, as we head into really just a better news flow right now. All right. So that is that. If you guys want to check out that post, just follow Evan on his timeline, and he's got it all for you right there. Okay, so I think we are. That's mostly. I'm just checking on Meta. Not quite there, but before we go into, it's the plural Winklevoss. What? That's Jemmy for Jemmy. You guys hilarious. All right, but we have one thing to do before I can actually get in the charts. So you guys want it? We're gonna check in with our friend Miss Cleo really quick. One sec. Yikes. So I did not actually look at these before just now. Yeah. Just saying, it is what it is. Yikes, Aroni. But here we go. So this is the theme card, I suppose. I mean, I don't even have, I'm literally speechless right now. Oh God. Sell everything. I don't know. You know, I said I think it's gonna be choppy. that is a 10 of swords. So last week we had the 3 of swords, and it was like 3 swords going through your heart. This is 10 swords. You know, sometimes November is choppy. Yeah. Sometimes it's and maybe it's the bears that are dead. Bull trap, government shut down 2 more weeks. It's all possible, guys. And it's all possible. I don't know. And I'll be quite honest with you, the market is also in stalemate. So that's the theme card. 10 of swords. So today is the Knight of Pentacles, which, you know, looks good. And maybe we're ending the day with 1 coin left. I don't know. She doesn't have we're open tomorrow. She did not give us a card for Tuesday. Okay. For Veterans Day. And then we have literally Death card. I don't think I've seen this card before. I don't even know what to do right now. And then King of Cups. And then the Knight of Swords. You know what? I'm not even going to guess. I have no idea. So, all right, let me just read this. I have not read this at all. So the theme card is the 10 of Swords. This card is pretty easy to read based on the visuals. Yeah, I mean, she's off this week. Hey, it looked bad for a little bit, and then it looked choppy. So maybe I just don't know. It symbolizes final. Hey, look, final death. Final death is not bad. Usually by surprise or betrayal. There's backstabbing in the mix, as you can see. Yeah, I mean, I would feel a little backstabbed, Miss Cleo. This means we could see a final bloody end to the selling. You know, maybe the final bloody end. The death. Hey, look, you know, is it the death of deaths? We cry, Is it the death of deaths? Because that's not so bad, is it? If it's death's death, I don't think that's bad. Yeah. This means we could see a final bloody end to the selling or quick reversal that eats bears alive. Okay, so comma, I don't know what I'm talking about, Miss Cleo. Great. Appreciate the insight. A mean reversion close to the week close. A mean reversion close to the week is possible, but I don't think it happens right away. All right. If the ship attempts to turn around, it will be slow and choppy. Watch out for drops. Okay. Actually, this is what I'm looking for. Maybe I'll explain this better than she did. Monday, Knight of Pentacles. He's a hardworking son of a gun, but he's slow and methodical. He can turn even the most barren fields into fruitful ones. Continuation is likely. Friday was green, and the range could be as much as just under 1% away from the close. Look for a grinder that will make it difficult to enter a trade. Probably fair. Tuesday, Veterans Day, no card. The market is open, but the bond market is closed. I don't like to perform readings on days like this when the big players are gone and liquidity is low. Fine. Maybe that might be a little cop out, Miss Cleo, but it's not untrue. The bond market does rule. Or just take the day off. Wednesday is death. So, wow. The death themes are strong this week. The death card itself brings metamorphosis and rebirth. So maybe not bad. That can be a good thing in some cases. In our current environment, it could mean an end to these daily flushes, or it can be an end to the dip buying. She knows not. It's tough to peg a reversal day or not, but I would look for a reversal in the days following this card. Reversal from the norm, not from Wednesday. What is the norm? I mean, technically, we've been grinding higher. We just kind of started to chop a bit. Thursday, King of Cups. We have some choppy waters to worry about here. This king says to stay calm and keep our emotions in check, but it can be difficult on days like this. It has a negative bias and can trend that way. So I would sell rallies on Thursday. Okay. Friday is the Knight of Swords. Double death and double knights this week. How interesting. I don't know. Why is that interesting? I don't know why it's interesting. This guy is different than the other. He's a hard-charging, fast mover that can get a little ahead of himself. Look for an early morning surge that fades a bit after lunch. Continuation is likely, but I would only chase rallies if Thursday was strong. Otherwise, we're selling rallies into a positively negative close. When negative close, I don't know. Thursday negative bias can trend that way. So it's sell rallies. Okay. She's not clean, not clear. This week is going to be tricky as we have a mix of positive, negative energies. There are a lot of possible trend days, so day traders may be happy. Yeah, I still don't think it's a swing traders market. Directionally, I think it's probably good if you're a premium seller or if you do calendars. Things like that. I think it is calendar season. Every year about this time is calendar season. Is it Grinder? I don't know. I don't think Grinder or Bumble were doing that great. But there's this one thing. So this means that we could see a final bloody end to the selling or a quick reversal that eats bears alive. These two things are the same. A mean reversion close to the week is possible. Mean reversion close, but I don't see it happening right away. So what's weird about Friday is that like, okay, so Friday we had a super bullish close. And usually in bear markets, Fridays are pretty bullish just because you have a lot of short covering. And then we had, of course, the headline that hit. And if Friday this week is Cleo thinks it's going to be red, well, Fridays in a bull market aren't always the best either because we have some profit taking. So, anyways, that's what we have. So I'm going to go ahead and set up here, take a quick look at the indices and get my chart set for you guys. Typically I'll look at a 30-minute chart here. And I got to reset some labels so that you guys can see a little bit better. All right, so this is where we are. So we have a big gap actually over the weekend, which happens to be at one of my, so remember I said that the market's been using this ADP level as NFP. So ADP is right here. That's 672.45. And that prior ADP level right here, 662.63. So just so you know, this is what I mean by that. Here's that prior ADP range. This is for October. And then November is up here. So November ADP and October ADP. So we actually retested the low of October's, gap up through right into November's low, and now we are heading right into that high, which is 680. So that's probably where we should actually close today. Just about just maybe slightly around 680 at the index level, or at least get to this week. What you're going to be looking for is continuation, like full days completely over 680 to really kind of solidify this, right? And that may or may not be a hard thing to achieve. We don't know, but I'm going to need multiples, right? Meaning I need full days to open above, hold, and stay over. And really, it was like this. What doesn't count is a day like today, right? So today doesn't count. If I don't get this, right? That looks good. What I should expect and what I'll tell you to expect is exactly this. Straight into 672. That's how this works. But that would be it. And then I would expect this to go straight back up and try to retest that one more time right here. And it might take a handful of times, but this gray box between 680 and 672 is the box that we are going to be tracking in or trading in for a little bit until we can get out like this. And what I mean by that is I need multiple days to close over, open and close over 680. So at least two full open and close above 680, call it 681 to be clean. If it opens below and then closes above, even if it does that today, that's not good enough. If it opens above and closes below, that's really not good. So what I don't want to see is I don't want to see a gap up tomorrow to here, only to close lower. If this happens, then I'm pretty sure we do this, and that becomes a better purchase down here at these 670s. And just to note that there is that session gap here from the weekend. So all that said, if we get one more push to the downside, it's going to be to fill this weekend gap. That means 672 right here, this little box between 674 and 672, this is my support level. It happens to line up with the 20-day simple moving average, but we're doing SPY right now because if you want confluence, if you're a stock or whatever, is at a level, and you see SPY doing this kind of thing, and you see it really holding that general area of support right over here, then this is a preferred entry over what we're looking at right now. And that honestly would set up a really nice rebound, quite frankly, because anybody that didn't buy, the last few minutes of Friday, they may or may not be chasing today, but if they get a pullback, yeah, they're probably going to buy that pullback. And that's probably going to line up to about 50% of whatever the high is here. Yeah, somewhere in here down to 670. So this is a more high value type pullback if it shows up just over the 20-day pullback to retest that. I would like that as a bit more structural, give some more people an opportunity to step in and maybe buy. And if they show up and buy, so when this gets here, it doesn't mean auto buy. What I'm going to be looking for is you want to start to see buyers step in. And if the buyers show up right here, you'll get this little consolidation, something like this. It's at this point right there that, okay, this is going to now start to look a lot better. And this moment right there is exactly what you're going to be looking for. If you can see that, whatever day that shows up, if we get that, cool. If not, look, you're probably already long anyways. And we just enjoy the ride. But so for now, it's like, where do I get to buy the dip? From the other perspective, the bears. So what this measurement is here, from here to here, I have a different measurement. So I have this guy, which I had before. That's an extension. What I need to do is find out where. So here, from this swing high to this swing low, this is basically the bear stop loss. Yeah, so this is that same kind of exercise that we've done like many, many times before. You have your little head and shoulders, but this is the bear's like last, I wouldn't call it a stronghold, but when you fill, if you fill this other weekend gap, there's a 681.25 is a session gap. And that's over that ADP level. Let's say if you get over here and you hold over that, that's the same thing as what I was just outlining. I would like to see a couple days holding over this level to confirm an actual breakout. And then that's going to look really good also. So either one of those two is going to look good. What's not going to look good is anything below this 670 level. So what's not going to look good is if this comes back and I do not see the buyers step in, if this goes and maybe if they fail right around 675 and then I get this and they do not continue to step in or a headline shows up, that is the point where it would not look good. But even at this point, we're still going to be testing this 660, which in that instance, it's not going to be, it's basically where we just were. And if for whatever reason that actually got really ugly, then the downside here is 652s right here. That would be, and let's go 643. So possibly 643 is at the maximum downside. And I think that if this was like, oh my God, peak fear, that's about just barely 6.5, nearly 7% from the high, which is a much better discount level than we were looking at before. This is 10% at 625, and the 200-day sits at 11.5%. I don't know why that would get there, but this first level is where I would expect a serious bounce right there. If for whatever reason everything, all hell broke out and it just looked absolutely rancid, which we're not even kind of close here. This bounce is constructive. It's not one I would chase, actually. It's one I would probably fade, quite frankly, just because it was a bit much. And And in an instance like this, it's kind of like, there are stories about market makers and things like that sometimes wanting to push price lower just so that they can get a better price later. I don't really subscribe to all of that. But the other thing that is true is that we are here, and this first break of your general trend line, which is, I'm just connecting these recent two highs. We did breach slightly right now. It can continue on, fill this gap, and then at some point, people are going to be like, "Oh, I want a better discount," and it still might come to that level, and then that might be a more attractive entry. But regardless, this sets up as chop, and I think that is possibly more of what we're looking for. And it might even continue to chop, because then you'll get 1, 2, maybe 3, and maybe that gets pulled back. And then on the fourth attempt, it goes through. It might not even be that first one. So all of this can happen. But just know that for now, the range is 680 to 670s, give or take. And it's not until we get those multiple days closing above that level that we're really well on our way. And until then, I think slow grinds higher, which doesn't suit a lot of directional trades very well, especially coming out of earnings season, which is why a lot of traders might be getting chopped up at the moment. This seems to be very V recovery-ish, and it would be constructive not constructive, it would be super bullish if we did do that. But it's a little early to see that. We could, but it would be definitively headline driven if that were to be the case. Qs, similar. This is V out right now. And the session gap, we had a couple. So we filled this one from the weekend before. So that is done. We still have one above here. And my ADP level on Qs is actually not till 626. So I'm pretty far away on this one. And I want to check one thing. Small little double top. We're not nearly as high on the Qs as we were on SPY. Interesting. Not even kind of. So this can probably go higher. But look at this. This gap, the equivalent gap on SPY was very close. On Qs, it's not even. It's 630. Wow. Here's what I'll tell you too. On all of these right now, we have a gap and go is what this is called. I'll just take some of these down so it's not in your way. And the way that these work is that from the weekend session gap to the pre-market level, this 20-day simple moving average and that ADP levels, which is 615, that ends up being your what we call a half gap on QQQ. Qs didn't even get close to filling this half gap. And so this is a gap and go, which means that this could continue to go. And here's your targets. It's still at 630. So it hasn't moved nearly as much as SPY. But when it gets there, it still has this inefficiency down here. So this is sitting at about 612. The equivalent level, yeah, I'd still say about 612. And this was a prior double top also. So even all of this would be better. Doesn't have to fill entirely, but close to those 20-day simples, we'll see. If price gets there and then I see buyers stepping in, those are constructive pullbacks for now. But until then, if this is holding, as long as it's holding over the 20-day, Q specifically, that does not look like it's ready to pull back. Let me just look at SPY. Well, SPY is doing the same. So you actually hit that half gap today already, which is right there. So this little wick, similar thing. So both are what we call gap and go. So higher until you fill these market inefficiencies. But once you get there, then stop, and then maybe death shows up on your doorstep. That's the read, at least from a price action perspective. Headlines aside, headlines can change all that. A couple of things. So the canary in my coal mine has been the dollar. And I posted something about this not too long ago. This is good. This current setup. So watching this, dollar hits the 200-day simple moving average like almost to the penny. That's this red line right here, and that prior resistance. So if I pull back, this was support, resistance here, still acting like resistance at the 200-day resistance. So at this point, I would expect this dollar to come back and chop a bit, which is also bullish for those gold trades. That makes sense why I saw gold bounce. Maybe not all the way back, but at least halfway, somewhere on 98s, which does position us decently for a small bounce, but not enough to say that was the bottom. It's like a relief bounce, and then we have to see what happens from there, because that is still actually trying to break through resistance. It just slapped its head once right now, and if this breaks through, well, that's not going to be a lot of fun near term at the index level. But this looks like it's got to come back. Couldn't make it through. At minimum, has to come back to collect more buyers if that's going to happen. But I don't know. It shouldn't actually happen if we're going to be lowering rates. That should just be a slow bleeder. How's gold doing right now? I think I should roll some calls up. No, we're okay. Gold, huge gap up overnight. The one trick that I tell you guys about from time to time is this thing called the GVZ, which is the Gold Volatility Index. And oh, baby, is it extending today. So yesterday, there was a little bit of a blip on the radar here that actually enticed me to go long gold. We are absolutely extending here, which tells me that we are not done, period. That's just, we're not done. So you got a few more days. I don't know that it goes all the way up here, but GVZ is the Gold Volatility Index. This is that kind of like secret squirrel, I don't know. This is the secret about trading gold. When gold goes up, the volatility of gold options go up. Gold Volatility Index, GVZ, is what you watch. And when this goes, so does gold. Actually, this leads it. So this is ripping as we speak, which means that gold's going to have another day probably tomorrow, even if it's not happening right now. What that means is that people are buying more long options, hand over fist, to the point where that the market makers can't really keep up, and they just keep increasing volatility on those options. That's what that means. BTC and Ethereum, quite frankly, these look choppy. I 28 on my Ethereum bingo card. This is a okay level. But definitely not one that's going to get me excited. It's just this general chop. Yeah. It's just a series of lower lows and lower highs near term. I don't like it. I mean, I would have liked it at 31, but you have to see continuation. This little red box has to act as support, which I think it might be early for that. Still 28 on my bingo card. 34, 35. So if 34, 35 gets tested, I think that's also fine, but it has to hold. Quite frankly, you're on the 200-day simple moving average. I know there's a lot of lines here. Don't mind those. They do matter. So I do kind of need them. This is that breakdown. I just want to check one thing to see if I think we have completed the extension. Yeah. Well, the first piece of the extension at 31 and 50, meaning like if this is your bearish breakdown, we've essentially doubled that right here. So this little wick completes the primary pattern, the primary technical pattern of a measured move to the downside right there, 3170. It could totally get to 2750 and not be that big of a deal. That would be one more liquidity event. And if you did see that, I think that would be the low. But 3,000 is pretty close. It's really close. I don't know that this gets up and goes, but if it chops a little bit from here, maybe a liquidity event, and then go, that would be a much better inverted ay caramba. I would very much expect this, which means a little bit more chop, maybe one more drop within the chop. That might be a disappointing chop or drop, but probably the one that you want to buy if you see it. Probably. Anyways, that's where we are. I think Biddy's similar, but Biddy would lead if Biddy would lead if the recovery is going to mount. It's not going to start with Ethereum. I don't think it usually starts with Bitcoin, and this one will tell you where we're going first. These are relief bounces into structural resistance. These are not good places to go long, like at all. I don't like this. Not yet. Too soon. Too soon. I think you could bounce, but if you get to that, you're not in the clear, basically. I'm not trying to snipe a low. I don't think it's worth 10% because your upside is significant. Meaning, like, I would much rather wait for this to get clear over 113, 112 and take it long over here, because like the upside that you're talking about from a trade perspective is in the 145s, and my risk here is 30% to take something like this. And even if I was really careful and I took it here for 20%, that's fine. But if I go long here now and I end up catching a falling knife, the downside is here 85. That's the downside. And it would happen pretty quickly in a liquidity event. So it's a dangerous long is my point. It's very dangerous. Maybe you get chopped up at 95. It's just safer to wait. Yeah, it's just much safer to wait. Okay, realistic 90. That's what that would have to look like. And then that's probably going to be played out at that point. And then you go sideways. So, yeah, I mean, as a trader, I don't like this. Would I sell BMNR now? No. Because Ethereum, I think, is a lot closer to the lows, like a lot closer to the lows. I would be prepared to buy one more tranche of BMNR at 33. So let's go ahead and move over to the request, and we'll just hit BMNR first. So I think 37 was the first one. And if I looked at this, I don't know what's going on with my things right now. Because it's so, I don't know what that is. So this was that first level. And by the way, so it's been in consolidation, and that consolidation broke, right? I was looking for this consolidation to hold, and it did not. It's just what it is. And so right over here, you breach, you come back. This area here, it's below this, but you have 1, 2, 3. This is like the inverse. So like if I flip this chart upside down, Alt-I, if this was my thing where I say, okay, 3 attempts, but on the 4th attempt, it's going to go through. I just turned this chart upside down, by the way. On the 4th attempt, it's going to blow through. This is literally the same exact thing, but just upside down. That's what happened. So 1, 2, 3, attempt number 4, it literally blows through that 49, but really, what is it? That $48, $47 support, which was this level here, blows through. What's the next level below that? It's literally right here, 37. So it was as close to 37 as you can. And I think that's acting as support right now. I think that holds. But over here, you have to drag this across. So do you sell here now? No, not necessarily, because if you're, I think this is about understanding how to trade around a core position. So my core position ads are here. Well, you're not going to get that, but let's say generally here, right? Generally here, and generally in here. Just look at this in the sense of someone who, not you, not me, but just the general person who might be building a core position. Where are they probably going to be adding? They might have gotten this, probably built some over here. Probably built some in here, right? Probably built up a lot in this general area. So what's going to happen, and this is the story of what we call price action, is that this will probably come back up close to this 47 in the future, in the probably near future. And the question is, what do these people that bought at 47 do when they're back to even? That's the question, right? And depending on how long they've been in this stock, will really give you the answer. So and what they're and how if they have weak hands or diamond hands also, right? So it's very specifically this near term cohort of buyers and right here. So these people who bought the dip, maybe even one, right, 2, 3, 4 times. These people, not really these people. We're not too interested in these people right now, but it's these people, 1, 2, 3, 4, that bought more recently. When they get back to even, the question is, what are they going to do? They're not close to even yet. So I don't know that they're going to be selling. They might just be holding still, bag holding, and just as a human being in the stock market, people with equity probably not going to sell or think to sell unless they're even. And if they get back to the even, well, this is how support and resistance is defined. Honestly, this is like the story of price action. And what we just had was, okay, we just had a memory of when we were over here. Price remembers, well, this ended up being a buying spot. Maybe this holds, maybe it doesn't. I think it does for a time. And I think that you can come back, and this may even come back into that. Again, a disappointing retest to somebody who just bought thinking that this was going to V out. This would be a disappointing retest. I wouldn't sell that. I think that this comes back from here, and then we see. But that is your build into a core position, and then you do need to trim, because this group of buyers here, they're likely to sell, especially if they rebought over here. They're all likely to sell at least a little bit, because they're thinking that, well, maybe I'm going to get it back again here. And maybe they do. I wouldn't necessarily buy it there, because I'm just going to tell you right now, this 33, what I just said, as close to 33 as you can. That would be that liquidity grab. It might even be 30, who knows? But 33 right here is that last area of where somebody might have some memory of like, whoa, okay, that's where we got. And that ends up being the same kind of setup that I'm looking at on Ethereum, where it could be a bounce and then maybe a disappointing pullback that ends up being, well, chopping in here for a while with one liquidity grab, more chop, and then finally that's best case scenario. But you're going to have to battle these sellers for a while. And until those sellers are exhausted, till these people finally give up, not until then can this actually break out again. And which means that this existing downtrend line holds, and this still is intact completely. So this is not until Christmas, maybe later. And it's got to be over 48. That's when it's ready to break out. In the meantime, 48, 47s is resistance. And it's because of those last 3 or 4 tranches of dip buyers that are stuck underwater right now. And what do they do moving forward? It's whatever they do. They're going to define that as, is that going to be resistance, or is it going to be a launch pad? I don't know, but they're going to tell the story. But I bought 30, 41, 47, and there you go. Which, by the way, probably gives our friend here an average of roughly 40 anyways. And I don't know that he's going to sell. I mean, maybe if he has an average of 40, depends on how much he's buying. He's probably going to buy more down here, most likely. But it's a long-winded answer on that one, just to give you guys an idea of how support and resistance is defined, and kind of like read the story of what price action is actually telling you. Meta. So Meta is interesting, right? So it's interesting for a lot of reasons. I mean, Probably a lot of people said, "Hey, if I saw Meta at $600, it's worth a shot." I literally said that, not too long ago. It didn't. I don't think it got exactly to $600. If I pull this back, so what I just did was this was from a swing low. We call this swing low to swing high, and I'm not going to teach so much because I'm going over time right now. But from the low to the high here, I have about a 50% retracement, which was 633. That's interesting. First of all, for this to get back into the even somewhat maybe thinking about maybe being back on an uptrend, it has to be over 635. Like minimum. Everything else, falling knife. And to me, my logic, not my logic, my real spot was this 585 right in here underneath 600. Didn't quite get there. So today it's back over. It's at that 633.50 level, which was prior support from here. If I drew that all the way across, oddly enough, I'm getting a lot of confluence in terms of this being a very reactionary spot. So this is resistance. This is resistance, right? This is resistance, and this is support. Resistance, support. Meta has this thing where it does this. This is really nothing. Like, it's not really much of anything, and this is just reactionary nothing either. This is the metaverse drawdown. No, that's not the metaverse. That's something else. I don't know what that is. But that's a nice little drawdown from 740 to 470. Good God. But that's Meta. This is the personality of this stock, 36% drawdown. It happens. This would be about on average pullback just underneath 600 for Meta. If I pull this across, see, this is 1, 2.5, maybe 3 times retesting. I'm about to find out, for all intents and purposes, I should expect this to be resistance. That's an R. And for all intents and purposes, where this was resistance before, support. See how many times this is different? Support, resistance. How many touches? I got a lot more in this area than I do up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably more than that, and only a handful up here. So I don't think this is a super strong level up here. But if I get it down here, I think that's more convincing, and I have more confluence here. But not unlike SPY, where if I have just the market telling me, hey, look, we don't care, if people want this enough, it's just not going to get there. And that's okay. But I need to know also, what does that look like from a price action perspective? And what that does look like is it looks like this very small, and we're going to pull from over here, general area here gets over. And I'd say 641 is that primary reaction level to 645. So this can look good. I want some kind of chopping like this. And eventually a handful of candles getting me up and out of that. That's what this is going to look like. So it's not like an overnight thing unless there's a headline, but that is what this would have to look like. And you may get even a big one and then a big pullback. And on this pullback that you get, that's what your launch pad would actually really look like. And this should look like pretty normal price action if you think about it. That's very normal. So you'll get a press, great. If you get it, it's got to be over this 635, possibly 645 level. You'll get a disappointing pullback, but on that disappointing pullback, if it holds that prior resistance as support, which is about 640s, between 635 and 645. I'm not going to be super exact, but just this general area. That is what you need to see. What's not going to be good right now is this. Like, that's not going to be good. That's going to give me this. And even then, if I do get that, I need to see buyers step in and show some kind of excitement about this, because this support's not a hard line in the sand, right? Like, I'm going to need to see some kind of excitement from buyers, and I'm going to need to see them step in at a certain point and actually get that full candle or two up over in order to give me an actual trigger back over 595. So one of those two, those are the areas that I'm looking for. And that's your confirmation type thing. So 2 lessons, I guess. Is that worth the tangent? I don't know. Redditor hood. Did I discuss grab MSTRs? I don't know. Bitcoin. Did we do BA? We did not do BA. I haven't even looked at BA today. Similar. So you're up at the 200-day simple. I like BA, but I need to have more buyers show up. So I'm at BA is a perfect example of something that's being at a prior level for a lot of reasons. And we are 198. I need to see buyers show up in force, because right now this is pattern complete, but I'm not seeing anybody show up with interest. Like, I see them show up for a very short period of time and then it just gets faded away. So I'm seeing sellers is what I'm seeing from a price action perspective. If I pull this back, I'm just going to tag a couple of things, and I just made a straight horizontal line. So here, all of this area, this is a big deal. It's 197, right? Big, ginormous pivot, by the way. Huge. I'm going to zoom out on weekly so you guys see it. It's a big deal. So I think how you trade this is going to matter, because, again, support, resistance, all that, it's not a hard line in the sand. But what is important, we have our, call it, level of interest. It is here. What I need to see is I need to see reactions from like market participants. There are a couple of things. So we do this in Boeing, and where I'm getting to is this is the prior, what we call megaphone, like broadening formations. And this is the most recent consolidation center line, right? And so I'm just going to grab this area right here, and that's going to give me that 201 level, where Boeing spent a lot of time consolidating. This is probably a year, 6 months, over 6 months going sideways. So 2 things to note. One, this is absolutely a really big area, but 2, it's a trap zone where Boeing can get really stuck. So I'm going to drill in one more time. So that's the center line of the primary broadening formation. Inside this, we have a secondary one, which is here. And I think we're breaching. So we're starting to breach that lower trend line down here. And usually I would want to be long just like this area while it's coming back up out of one of these. Like, you tag the end and you go back. You tag the end and you get bought up. I'm tagging the end and I'm getting sold off. And that I don't like right now. I just really don't like it. Here's the upside. So until this reclaims really 200, I think you just watch it. I don't think it does anything right now. And this could be in a sideways hold for quite a while. And I'm really not trying to bottom fish on Boeing too much. I like it a lot. And the last time I bought it was literally like right off one of these. I think it was this one here. Even this like disappointing pullback, still pretty close, but you're back to this center line is the biggest issue. Like we are on the center line and we're just now breaching it. So what I want to see is I want to see that come back up and out through. And it's going to be that 201. So while I was playing this game, I don't know, don't like it, but not enough to trash it. But it's not going up right now. It can come back to 185s pretty easily, but even then, doesn't mean that I need to go out and buy it. I like the story, but fundamentally, this could be a long road. All right, that's Boeing. Reddit, I don't know. Reddit was, I mean, I'm not interested in Reddit that much. Yeah, it is what it is. 205. That's too short term. SoFi. SoFi looks good. Well, this is all rates stuff for sure. Sideways. Oh, no. Reddit released, it's not sideways. This is fundamental. This is a story. This is about the new RSUs being released. I think they got a $35 and $45 tranches that were just updated. So you guys need to look into SoFi. I think management has those official targets now. That's what that's about. Hoodie. Just checking. Interesting. I don't know. This looks sideways still too. It's over 133 and a quarter, which is that main piece to continue. We got nearly that pullback. I'm actually pretty tight on my SMAs right now, but I'm right up on that 20-day simple as well. Yeah, I think you need to let this chill. Yeah, none of this is rips that I want to chase. Everything here is sketchy. I mean, it looks like it can go up more, but only for a short term. That might get you slapped. Similar. So unless there's fundamentals that are driving things like SoFi, what is with you guys on Path? I don't know. I don't do Path. It looks good, but I would buy it for a day trade. For probably a pretty aggressive day trade. I mean, your time frame here is like minutes to days. Not anything longer than that. And then I'll close on SMCI. So SMCI is so here. I get into my extended hours on. So it is, I have this guy. Just connecting these two lines, getting my general trend. Rough. I think we talked about it, right? Like the difference between bookings and recognized revenue. Look, the market is basically saying that we don't have that the revenue recognition is not going to come, which is, I don't know. That's up to you. It's not as good as Dell. We know that. And 35, I believe, is actually Liberation Day. So this level right here is the day that 48.34. I think this is the day that their accounting issue showed up. So over 48.34, all right, well, the market's coming to peace with SMCI and their accounting things. That's what you would read that as. And then over, I think Liberation Day was 31s, 33s. So again, not a straight line in the sand in terms of support, but this is the area that we just tested right here. If I pull this back, we're literally in it right now. So that's what's happening. So we're in it. This bottom white line, that's the consolidation. We're just coming off the top, couldn't break out, couldn't even hold the center line. Dude, the market doesn't like it. It is what it is. If it breaks below this consolidation, then it is 33, just so you know. And 33 comes all the way back over here, 35 to 33. And that would be a bmnr level breakdown, right? And maybe you test it 1, 2. If you test it 4 times, that's what's happening. But until then, generally speaking, this I would assume hold as support right here. No, I don't think anything changed from my fundamental story at all, but definitively the technical story absolutely changed and the timeline of the technicals absolutely changed. So depending on how you're trading it, you need to adjust for that. And that is what it is. The investment thesis has not changed, but the technical story has, which means this says that the story might be the same, but the timing is different. And Mark is still working through some kind of scar tissue, but trade location matters. And while up there might not be that good, down here, from a trade location perspective, definitely better. Definitely better. What you need to see for continuation through is this. And then again, you're going to get stuck with all these people here that bought at this $50 support area. They're probably going to sell on you. Just know, right? You're probably going to hit this area, maybe even just below it. They're probably going to sell. And then you want to see a higher low and build. But that consolidation, a long time. Unless something happens fundamentally that changes the story here. All right, guys, that's it for me. I got a bunch of work to do, but I will see you guys soon. Ask Amit if I got TT on deck. I'm actually not sure. I have no idea if we're doing technical Tuesday. We usually don't do it during earnings season, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on this week. So anyways, until then, I love you all. I will see you soon. And if not, jump in the server. Link will be updated in the description. Ping me whenever. And I think we opened up. Amit said yes. You know what? If he told you guys yes, that's the first time I'm hearing about it because I have not scheduled it. But I think I think we opened up the sports section. I think. I don't even know anymore. Let me check. And if not, I've been opening it up. Yeah, you guys should be able to see it. Oh, no. I'll open it up on the weekend. He said yes. Did he say yes? When did you guys ask him? This morning, he said he anticipates TA. What's news to me, guys? I love it. You guys give me the news. I love it. All right. But I'm getting hungry. It's almost lunchtime here. It's 11th. It's brunch time. I can still get breakfast is the best meal of the day, just so you know. So 11:30, I can still get away with brunch. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. I love you all. Appreciate all the support. And until next time, adios.